Hi team, Miss Vaughn here to talk to you about what you're going to be doing with the sub today. Okay, I introduced the exhibition to you all in class on Friday, and I know that we didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of it, but I want you to also remind yourself that this is a practice exhibition, okay? So you're going to get graded on completion for this. It's a matter of practice, okay? You got to get your reps in. So think of it as you want to just do it and get feedback, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. So this is your first time doing this too. And this is writing like you've never done before. And so there's a lot of risk taking that's involved in it, but you're going to be okay. What I want you to get done by today is I want you to choose your IA prompt. So you guys narrowed it down. There was like, I think the most someone had on their paper was 4. I want you to start to narrow it down. And then I also want you to choose your objects. So your objects have to be things that you have some sort of relationship to. Because you cannot, because IB wants you to be able to talk about these objects with some context. And if you're choosing something that you have no real knowledge of, then you're not going to be able to talk about the context very thoroughly. Okay. I want you to then think about everything that's written on the board on the right side of the room or on the side of the room. And I want you to think about what things you can include to weave throughout your response. So even though it might seem kind of simple, it is complex in all the kind of things that are at work in your writing as you give your explanation. Okay, so you have to I'm going to try to explain this in a way that makes the most sense. Again, you're not answering the prompt, you're explaining how your object connects to the prompt. So if you read through the example paper that I gave you guys in class on Friday, they follow a very simple structure. So the way that they follow the structure for their writing is that they first establish the context for their object. Then, after consideration of the context, they have some questions built into the middle of their response about, okay, once you consider the object, there's some questions that kind of naturally arise about what this object reveals about knowledge or what this object makes the writer wonder about knowledge. And then again, the last part is just kind of walking through the whole it depends argument, and it's getting into the weeds or the nuance of what it all depends on. And like the interpretation of the object can differ based on the lens in which someone is looking at it or the way that someone is considering it. So that's what you need to do for the last part. Okay, I talked a lot. So boiling it down, you're going to do context of your object, questions that maybe it begs by considering your object with the prompt in mind. And then the last part is walking through the whole it depends argument. Um, so looking at your object from many different points of view or many different consideration. So are you looking at it from a sense perception argument? Are you looking at your object from this idea of faith or imagination? Walk us through that. So that's what IB really wants when they talk about TOK thinking. They're not wanting you to assert an argument and prove that you're right. They want you to be able to look at a thing from multiple perspectives, multiple angles, and consider it. And do it with some nuance and some detail. So again, we've said it depends for so many different things. Now is the time where they want you to really explain, what does it depend on? Okay, I've talked a lot, so that's your goal for today. Figure out your prompt, figure out your 3 objects, get it all into a document, and start one of your responses. Tuesday, I expect that you should come into class and then you guys really need to trust yourselves. I want you to have a sharing moment. Okay. So, like, you have your objects, you have the sample paper, and I want you to read each other's and give each other feedback. Okay. Like, are you doing what the sample paper is doing? And are you doing what the directions tell you to do? And I'm going to tell you right now that the biggest mistake that people do is that they spend way too much time just talking about their object and not talking about how their object reveals knowledge within the world or how their object makes one consider knowledge in the world. So that's why I said that the organization is really important for you to be able to have balance. And the number one point of feedback for why someone doesn't do well is because they spend so much time just explaining the object not talking about how it reveals knowledge in the world. Okay, I'm gonna be back on Thursday. On Wednesday, you're gonna get started with some language stuff. I'm gonna be back on Thursday. We'll have Thursday to just check in about the exhibition, and then you're gonna turn in a full draft on Friday. So the full draft is gonna be 950 words on the final draft for your actual exhibition. For this practice one, I would say 800 minimum for this. If you have any questions, please email me. I'm going to be on and off my computer throughout the conference that I'm going to, but I promise to reply back to any emails that you send as quickly as possible. Okay, be nice to the sub, be nice to each other, be nice to yourselves, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.